Hi everybody, welcome to Mark's Backyard Birds channel. This is a video of my backyard in Kansas City, Missouri, shot on April, oh no, it was actually May 15th I shot this video several years ago. And I thought what I could do during this is just narrate. Hopefully you can hear the songs going on. This is a typical spring backyard with a feeder station. I set up the camera, turned it on, and walked back inside and let it play. So the audio is going like crazy. You can hear goldfinches in the background. You can hear very loud Baltimore Orioles from time to time. And here comes a young Oriole in on the upper right. Jumping over to the jelly. Going to get a taste of jelly there. There's a downy woodpecker feeding on the peanut feeder at the lower part of that. And now that I've been inside for a while, a white-breasted nuthatch has come in. Now he's feeding on the, he was feeding on the squirrel buster feeder there. There's another Baltimore Oriole has come in to eat on the jelly in the upper right. Another downy woodpecker has landed on the what I have in that feeder is a squirrel buster feeder. The green cage looking feeder is called Woodpecker Nuthatch Chickadee Mix by Wild Delight. They love that. Just to his right, another Baltimore Oriole is eating two Baltimore Orioles there, one up on the cross arm and one feeding on the jelly in the feeder. Now a red-bellied woodpecker has landed on the peanut feeder. That's a female red-bellied woodpecker. We know that because the red doesn't go all the way across the top of her head. It stops, basically from the back of the nape, and so we know that's a female red-bellied eating the peanut pickouts that are in that mesh aspect peanut feeder there. And the Orioles are going to be coming and going pretty much through the whole video. You can hear that. You can hear that Baltimore Oriole song in the background. I apologize, there was some lawnmower noise in the distance there that was being picked up by the camera microphone. That is the loud Baltimore Oriole singing right there, going quite almost constantly during the video. Notice that my goalpost setup here, I have raccoon baffles on both of the posts. So that's one of the ways I'm able to put the jelly out on these posts, and the raccoons cannot climb them and get into them. Otherwise, they are quite dedicated to getting to that jelly. So that's how I keep the raccoons out of my baffle and my feeders. And then I have weather baffles on my finch feeders there. I have a mesh finch feeder in the foreground on the left. That's we lovingly call that the cheese grater feeder. It's a mesh feeder that the finches really like. And then and it has a mixture of fine sunflower chips and Niger in it. Just to its left, with the other weather dome on it, is an aspect finch feeder, and it also has fine sunflower chips and Niger mixture. And then the one that looks like a birch log there, that has a larger holes in it, and I feed medium sunflower chips out of that that the goldfinches really like. The goldfinches are a little shyer, so when I came out and turned on the camera, they tend to go away for a little bit, and then they're slower to come back in. But I think they'll be coming back in here before too long. There is, I think, behind the feeder on the fly-through, I think right now there may be a female cardinal maybe will come in. And now we're hearing a lot of house sparrow fuss. You hear all that chatter. The house finches are numerous in the neighborhood, although I do my best to not feed seed that they like very much. Now here comes one of the stars. There's a male rose-breasted grosbeak. Just landed on the fly-through feeder there. Beautiful male, black and white with that red triangle on his chest. It's an absolute beautiful bird, and they come in usually around the 1st of May in our area and stick around for a couple of weeks before they start nesting. And at which point, once they start nesting, they don't come to the feeders, unfortunately, very much. They're feeding almost exclusively on insects and on some of the tree buds, but they're mainly feeding their babies. And a lot of our rose-breasted grosbeaks just pass through to more northern states, but they do nest in our area in tracts of bigger timber. So I just heard a tufted titmouse sing in the background. The Peter, Peter, Peter call from the woods there. Yep, he just sang again. Not seeing him on the feeder just yet. The two that are on the squirrel buster, they're the cage feeder. I think those are house finches. The males have the red on the face and the neck and back down the back, and the females are all just a really plain striped bird. But the rose-breasted grosbeak continues just to feed there. They love sunflower, safflower, hulla sunflower, and that's mainly what's in that feeder. That is mainly sunflower and safflower, so the grosbeak is very happy. They're first cousins to the cardinals. He just flew back to the woods. He'll hopefully be back in a few minutes. The very loud chirp you hear there are the house sparrows. They're probably on the ground feeding at this moment. Continue to hear the titmouse singing Peter, Peter. There are times when no birds will be on the feeders, and sometimes they catch a quick view of a potential predator, and it scares them off, and they get still and quiet for a few minutes. I have a Cooper's hawk that visits my yard pretty regularly, and also it can just be they catch a shadow in the air, or even someone in the yard, a house down. Things like that will just make them skittish for a few minutes before they start coming back in. And there was a very quick black-capped chickadee came in, grabbed a seed and flew away, and that's very classic for them behavior. They usually grab a seed, like a sunflower seed, and fly somewhere and hold it between their toes and use their bills to crack it open. So them to fly in and fly out very quickly. There's another one. Here he is in the tray feeder. Now he's flown the snatch and grab, and there's a white-breasted nuthatch who likes to do the same thing. He just flew off somewhere to crack open the seed he picked up out of the feeder. You hear a robin singing there in the background. They don't come to the feeders very often. They're mainly insects and fruit eaters, but they do nest in the neighborhood, so they sing quite often. Ooh, I just heard a scold note from a Carolina wren, who is another bird that comes in and just pokes around in the seed. He may eat a whole of sunflower seed or a little bit of peanut, but they're mainly insect eaters. Oh, that's a female rose-breasted grosbeak there on the feeder now. Not like the male. She just looks like a very large sparrow. That large grosbeak is their name for. She's again probably eating sunflower and safflower there. Oriole singing in the background, high up in the tree there. Downy woodpecker has come back to the peanut feeder now. You see his tail sticking below that mashed peanut feeder there, right by the pole on the right. Orioles are singing. Downy being a little more visible on the peanut feeder now. Well, I hope. Oh, there's a male house sparrow just landed above. Two male house sparrows. There now, one on the log feeder there, and the one waiting for his turn on the post to the right. Oh, the Baltimore Oriole male has come back in. He's on the jelly feeder in the upper right. Love the oranges and the grape jelly. This day, evidently, I was out of oranges and just had grape jelly out. Quite often, I'll have oranges on both of those feeders. I think the white-breasted nuthatch came in quickly. Another Baltimore Oriole is going to come and eat on the other jelly feeder, he looks like. One that's very flower-like in design. It's the beautiful male Baltimore Oriole. We occasionally see the orchard oriole in the backyard as well. I don't know if he'll make an appearance here. The downy woodpecker's got his back to us, hammering away on the peanut pickouts, pulling out the small pieces on there. It's a very efficient way to feed peanuts. Peanuts are more expensive, and of course birds can take them and drain you of them, so having them in a mesh feeder like that, where they had to break them apart, bring them in, is a smart way to feed the peanuts. And now a second downy woodpecker, he's now on the squirrel buster feeder there, the oriole on the right. Spring is absolutely the most beautiful time at your bird feeders. Along with the rose-breasted grosbeaks and the Baltimore Orioles, we also get visits from, there's a male cardinal just came into the fly-through, and he's cousins to those grosbeaks. He's a red grosbeak, if you will. But we also have visits from the iridescent blue indigo buntings come in and visit. A lot of times they'll feed on the finch feeders or in the fly-through, either one. And then, if you're lucky, the bluebirds come and visit as well. So, this was a day of pretty good activity. It's not super busy. Oh, beautiful oriole just landed on the post up there in the right. They, like the grosbeaks, do nest in the area, but once they're raising young, they don't come to the feeders nearly as often, so the jelly consumption goes way down. And it's a great time to substitute or add some mealworms for them. They can feed their babies the mealworms, and they will definitely eat the mealworms. I know Ruth tends to like to lay her mealworms on top of the jelly so they can pick them off of there, so that's an idea. You can have your own dish with either live mealworms in it or even dried mealworms in it, so you can get them used to eating those, because that helps them rearing their young. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, the narration, and maybe learned a little bit. We'll do more of these in the future. Thanks for tuning in. This is Mark's Backyard Birds. Please subscribe.